From the 260 to the 469, good morning, as Forrest would say. How's it going? Welcome to another weekly recap of the DNFL. Yeah, thanks for tuning in again this week, guys. I appreciate it. Trying to get this done this Saturday morning right after I wake up. It is a busy Saturday for me. Um, How has the weather been this week? It's kind of chilly outside, fairly chilly, um, fairly chilly in Fort Wayne. I'm going to a wedding this afternoon. I'm trying to figure out how to dress for it. Um, I'm actually going with Ryan, but I have to look at the temperature. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit warmer, so I'll have to figure out what does the weather look like in Chesterton. How do I dress? We will see. Speaking of Ryan, Ryan shared a helpful little nugget this week, as people would say. This was brought back to light. I actually asked Bets. Oops, I hit my mic. Can't do that. I actually asked Bets last night, hey, is it all right to share a tweet on the weekly recap? And Beth said, sure, I don't care. Yeah. I will say I was selective on what I chose. Word of caution, well, not word of caution, but word of advice. This is a changed man. This is not the same man that ran this Twitter page last when he was a college freshman. But the tweet of the week that I thought lined up fairly close with today's date and thought was comfortable enough to share on this podcast. I can't get any homework done when dumb YouTube videos exist. There's a lot of wisdom there. I feel the same way, honestly, when I'm trying to do stuff around home, like budget, maybe do some meal prep, and I can't get anything done when dumb YouTube videos exist. I agree. There's a lot of wisdom there. But yeah, this is a changed man. He is not the same man that ran this Twitter page 9 years ago. I am also curious, Ryan, how did you find out about this? Just curious, how did this come up? Leave a comment below. I'm just curious. Okay, let me stop sharing that. But yeah, we talk about Betts. Betts is a changed man. There are a lot of changes going around in the DNFL. Uh, so as we look ahead, and I want to talk about the remaining teams that were left to be talked about from last week. And what I want to do here, we're going to talk about Caleb. We're going to talk about Ryan. We're going to talk about Sam to Jaden and Blake. I'm just going to start looking at rosters and giving my own thoughts off the cuff. Um, so we're going to start at number 5 with Blake. I think this is playoff. This is playoff percentage to get in the playoffs. And these are my own thoughts. I'm looking at Blake's team right now, and I would say for Blake to win a championship, I think Jaden Daniels has to. I think he has to put his team on his back. I think if he's able to do that, he has a shot. I think there are a lot of other players on Blake's team that could be consistent over time. Some of them have been inconsistent, whether you look at AJ Brown and Drake London. I think Chase Brown is someone that is interesting that could outperform in future weeks. What could derail Blake's team? We talk about injuries all the time, obviously. I would look at the running back 2 spot and particularly the tight end spot if he's gonna roll with Taysom Hill going forward. Yeah, just maybe some iffy spots there, but that's all we have for Blake. To Jaden is next. Schroyer Farms. I will be honest, I am looking at Jaden's team right now, and what I'm honestly curious about, they are a 500, um, is that right? No. They are a 500 team right now, but when I look at Jaden's team, I see a team that I would prefer being on the opposite side of the playoff bracket of until we get to the championship. I think Jaden right now, to Jaden, path to win a championship. I'm going to say 85%, even though Blake's record is better. Honestly, how does he win a championship? I think Puka Nakua remains healthy. Honestly, there isn't a better running back combo than Saquon and Derrick Henry. How does this get derailed? I would say he doesn't get consistent production from his quarterback spot. Um, Jordan Love and Brock Purdy somewhat inconsistent this year. I think too another thing would be if Mike Evans cannot come back healthy to give him additional just options at his wide receiver position. I think that would be um, the other thing. We can talk about injuries for any team, but next, let's talk about um, this is Sam. I need to look deeper into Sam's team because honestly, okay, that's what I'm curious about. Yeah, Sam is 8-2. Sam is 8-2. I look at his team and I would say the last few weeks, I think for him to win a championship, I think Kareem Hunt keeps being the player that he is. I think Lamar has to be still putting up Lamar Jackson numbers. I think those are the only ways I see him winning. I Yeah, I am nervous for Sam come playoff time. This is just my own opinion. 70% chance to make the playoffs. I think Garrett Wilson, obviously, um, he has been great in spots this year. Actually, he's wide receiver too. I don't know why I said that, but wide receiver too. It's just a question of Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to keep throwing him the ball? Is he going to go more to Adams? Do you want to bet on the Jets? I I, I don't. I don't. But yeah, what does derail his team? I think really it comes down to Lamar. I think for Sam to win a championship, I think Lamar has to be putting up I would say between 25 to 30 points consistently come playoff time. That's just my own opinion, but you can take that for what it is. Um, Ryan, I'm looking forward to the um, drive to Chesterton today. You're up next, 75% probability. Leave a comment below for what Ryan and I should talk about on the drive to Chesterton. Leave a comment below. Um, Also, Ryan, if you I'm just curious how you found out about Betts' Twitter. Leave a comment below for that as well. Um, Ryan's team, IU for college football playoff. Does IU get in if they lose to Ohio State and win out? I feel like they do, but leave a comment below on your hot takes. Um, Ryan at 6-4. Um, yeah, I look at Ryan's team and I guess maybe I have less questions. I think he could win a playoff game. Um, I think Josh Allen obviously would need to perform consistently well. I think similar to Lamar, he'd have to have a couple outstanding games. Um, I think CeeDee Lamb and Cooper Kupp, if they play to their potential, that gives Ryan a really good chance of going on a run. Um, I am actually really comfortable with Ryan's running back 1 spot of David Montgomery. I have questions about RB2, and what that looks like. Um, yeah, I know Tony Pollard has had his moments in the past, but I, look at Tony Pollard and I get indigestion. So, that's just my thought. I think it'll come down to can Ryan's running back 2, um, play consistently? Um, these are my own thoughts, by the way. I'm literally just looking at this with my own eyes, own opinion, looking at the rosters. Um, last team, Caleb, 90% probability. Let's go. Where's Caleb at? Caleb is. I literally just saw his team. Um. Oh, Thomas is trained 7-3. Again, I talk about all the time about how I like Caleb's team. Um, I do. Um, I do like Caleb's team. I think the questions that I would have for Caleb's team come playoff time, um, 90% probability to make the playoffs. Obviously, we say injuries derail any team. I think I like a lot of spots on Caleb's team. Mixon, Kamara, Joe Burrow. It would be this thing for the Bengals if we get to a point um, close to playoff time where the Bengals are out of playoff contention and they just decided to sit Joe. Maybe Joe gets hurt again. Um, man, I really like his team. Brock Bowers is really good. I think if you're asking me what has derailed this team, because honestly, a couple injuries, I feel like he can hold safe. I think it would be like playing a team like Sam or Jaden in the second round, and them having players like a Henry, Barkley, or a Lamar that can go off and pretty much win you a week. I think that's what that would do this team in. I think too, the other thing I'm thinking about, I think if you want me to nitpick and pick one thing about Caleb's team that I don't like, it would be his wide receiver 2 spot. Um, I think in order for Caleb to have a clear championship this year, I think that and I'm saying just definite, like all gas, no brakes. I think Kyler needs to start throwing more to Marvin Harrison Jr. That is my take. We're going into playoff time. If we see that consistently, um, then I think Caleb has it. That's just my opinion, but you can take that or leave it. Yeah, I I think what could derail this team obviously is just injuries and a player getting hurt, or he has some players on his team that may be out of the playoffs at this point, and they may decide to sit them for the rest of the year. That would be the thing that I would be wary of if I was Caleb. Um, but yeah, that's the last of the teams to talk about come playoff time. Another thing I think about, and people do this in sports all the time, but as we're looking at the playoffs coming up, we're looking at the playoff bracket. This is how things are shaking out come playoff time. Who is going to play who? Um, I am honestly curious to see at this point as I'm looking at the league standings, and I think the league schedule, if we have how many more weeks do we have? So, pretty much in order for Dave to make the playoffs, I don't think anyone based on Dave's team getting healthy um, would want to play him in the first round, but we have 3 weeks left, including this week. I believe to Forest and I think that's Homie's team down at the bottom, seed 7. I think they would have to lose out, and Dave would pretty much have to win the rest of his games. I would be very nervous if I was the 1 seed or the 2 seed, if Dave ends up making it. That's just my opinion, if his team is healthy and rolling on all cylinders. But this brings me into my conversation. If you are pretty much set in the playoff race and you're like, I would rather be in a different spot come playoff time, do you throw your game, one of your last few games? Do you throw because you want to be on a different side of the bracket? Say, hey, I'm not going to have regular season wrapped up, so I'm not going to win that pot anyway, but maybe I want to win the championship cash pot. Maybe I want an easier road to the playoffs and I can afford to take a couple more losses. Will you do that for your pride? Will you do that for the chip? That's just a thought I had. I don't think I've done that in the past when I've done fantasy, but it's been on my mind. It's been a question. Hey, do other people do that? Teams do that in sports all the time, which honestly rarely does it work out because in order to win a championship, you don't want to doubt yourself. You want to think that you're the best and that you can get this done. That's a question for you. Would you throw to get a better path to the title? Leave a comment below. All right, guys, that's all I have for this week. If you could shoot me a text, give me any feedback, any suggestions on what you would want to see for the rest of the week, that would be great. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next time.